look at this video, I still repeat what I felt about it. That guy was so young 10 years ago. This become an old man. So aging. So everybody is aging all the time. When we look at something, we start to have certain experiences. So when I look at an object, I have an objective experience. But when I look at an object, I have an objective experience, and then my ego or my chitta will personalize that objective experience. What I mean is, I like him, I don't like him, I hate him, I love this. You personalize every objective experience, right? I haven't seen one person so far who would not personalize it. Unless he is mentally unconscious, unless he's ignorant. So we personalize objective experience. And what he would say, if we personalize an objective experiences, pass a value judgment to this and that, hate, love, ugly, rich, poor, what is that? You personalize the objective experience, and we call it what? Subjective experience. You subjectively pass your view onto that object. You personalize it. No exception. The moment you personalize it, what do? You create something in your mind. The moment you personalize things, you egotize things. You create something in your mind. You create what? You create a concept of what? I. This is me. I want to do this. I must be better than you. You create this I in you when you personalize it. Mine, I. So the moment when you create this I, what do? Then, logically speaking, what is this I? Anything you create, you must be able to point to it and say, this is I. So what do you point to say this is I? How do you identify this I? What do you point to say this is I? Whatever you identify, this I is what? It's your body, right? I. How can you have an I without a body? So you identify this body as I. No exception, right? And any identification, I, this body, has to have two dimensions. This I that you identify, you think you created or you have created, this I must occupy what? Two things. Time and space, right? Anything you identify must have time and space, otherwise how can you identify it? If that thing has no space in it, what is space? Space is height, length, breadth, and weight, right? If it doesn't occupy space, what do you identify it as? It's nothing. If something has no breadth, no length, no weight, nothing, how can you identify it? There's nothing. So you must identify something that you can perceive it. So anything that you identify must occupy space, right? And anything you identify must occupy what? Time, right? So what is time made up of? Time is made up of the past, the present, and the future, right? That's what time is. So if I point this body as I, what is my... I know I occupy space. What is about the time? How about time? The past. What is my past? My most perceptible past is my birth, right? What is more past than my birth? I was born as a baby. That was my past. My past. If you're 20 years old, 20 years ago, it is your past. If you're 60 years old, 60 years ago when you were born as a baby, that was your past. That is the most closest past. Of course, we don't want to talk about previous life past. That's beyond our comprehension right now. So my past is birth, right? You're being birthed. If my past is birth, then what's the future? Because time is, there's a past, there's a future. What is my future? What is the future I? What is the future I? My past I is birth as a baby. What is my future I? My future is what? Death. My future is death. You don't die. Your future, my future, all our future is death. So my past is birth. My future is death. So what is my present? Is there any such thing as present? Your present takes every word. What I said becomes a past. I point this finger here, and then I put this down, but it's already my past. Every present, there's no present. Every present becomes a past. And if we can identify this present with the body concept, the present is what? The present is aging. Every day you are aging. You're getting old. Every day, every year, every second. Are you getting younger? If you're getting younger, raise your hands. Are you getting any younger? You're not getting any younger, right? Not any facial can do you any younger. Not any makeup can make you any younger. So we know that it is aging, and we're aging. More than just aging, we are being sick too. So what is my past is my birth, what is my future is death, and what is in between is aging and sickness. What is this that I created? I created the body, I created birth, I created sickness, I created aging, I created death. I created suffering. Do I need to create suffering? Do I need this suffering? You created it yourself. Nobody else, not God, certainly not God, not your dad, not your mom, not your wife, not your husband. You yourself created this suffering. And how do you trace this suffering to its source? The most immediate source that you create this suffering is because you have a self. You thought you have a self. You thought you have an ego. That's why you created your own suffering. You thought you have an ego. But then we further ponder about it. You said the body, the I has space and time. But how about space? I'm still existing. I'm still existing. I have a body. I eat. I go to school, I go to work, and I still exist. I go on holidays, I enjoy things, I went partying, I like drink, I can do what I want, I feel happy. I exist. And what's the definition of existence? Our existence is based on all the necessary conditions. If some conditions don't exist, you don't exist. So the existence is nothing but the fulfillment and the completion of all necessary conditions. If your lung doesn't work, you don't exist. If you have no air to breathe, you don't exist. If you don't have water to drink, you don't exist. So your existence is based on the fulfillment and the coming together of all the necessary conditions. So existence is conditions conglomeration. And we know that these conditions don't always endure for a long time. So actually, we don't have an existence by the definition of eternity, eternal existence. We only exist on necessary conditions. So we are living, what? In a delusion of existence. And the Buddha said, we're living in a dream of existence. In order to awake from the dream of existence, you have to abandon this body that you call self. But this body is difficult to shut off. Very difficult. 2 years ago, one of my old cats was very sick. I was forced to sign a paper to let him go. The vet did not allow me to bring him home. Technically, did I kill the cat? When I signed the consent letter? You were forced to sign the paper. I don't think in this democratic society we call Canada, you could be forced to sign anything. I don't know what, some country may force you to sign anything. I don't think you have to be forced to sign anything unless you have committed a criminal offense that you've been judged guilty. But I don't know why the vet will force you to do anything. And he did not allow you to bring your cat home. I don't think a reasonable vet would say, you are not allowed to bring your cat home. Put your cat down and here, let me exterminate the cat. I don't think that a vet would do that, right? Otherwise, that's not a good vet. So, you were forced to sign the paper. This is after the fact, assuming that you have been forced to sign the paper. You're forced to sign the paper because the vet advised you to do so. The vet could have said, right, well, if you don't sign the paper, the cat is going to suffer from a very serious sickness, and he's going to die anyway in a number of days, in 2-3 days. Why don't the vet said, why don't I inject something in the cat and let him go peacefully? And he had the intention of letting the cat die peacefully. He did not want his cat to suffer. Well, that's his intention. What is your intention? If your intention comes in alignment with his intention, that means you want a cat to die peacefully. Then your intention is not to kill. Your intention is to let the cat die in peace. So you don't have a killing intention. You have the intention to let the cat die in peace. But that intention, I think, is tainted, because every being has certain karma to fulfill. If the cat's karma, given all the previous karmic energy he created, that the cat has to suffer for a couple of more days, if you terminate the cat's life, he hasn't finished his debt yet. He may have to come back to be a cat in next life for another 2 years. And in the next life, the cat may have not as good a master as you. So you are trying to kill a contract before the contract expires with good intention. So I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I think a cat should be allowed to die naturally to balance the karma. Say if the cat has to suffer 2 more years, and after 2 more years, he suffered what he should be as a cat, then he will reincarnate into human again. The fact that you allowed, you ended his life, then he has to come back as a cat. And the next life may not be he may not have a good master. And he could really be going through some bad situations. Now, let it go naturally. How do you know that the cat won't recover? Sometimes you say, oh, he's going to die, the cat is going to, sometimes a dog say the dog is going to die. A German Shepherd is always a problem with the high legs, and then some people will say, oh, terminate him. But I've heard examples that the master said, I don't want to end the life of my German Shepherd. Well, he looks like that and he may be okay. And the result is the German Shepherd lived for another 6-7 years. He's still limping a little bit, but he's still a good dog. Still healthy, except for some problems, the high legs. So why do you misjudge a sickness? Are you a vet? And even some vet may make mistakes too, right? Why don't we let it natural? Try to comfort the cat. Try to let the cat die peacefully. Put the cat in a good situation. so that the cat can die peacefully. I don't know if I've answered your questions. Everything should come naturally. Don't bring forward a premature death that you don't even know. You don't have supernatural knowledge to know about it.